Hi, this is Greg Olson with TSI. TSI is industrial hygienist and the global product manager for the health and safety instrument line here. Today we're going to be going over the DustTrak DRX desktop instrument screen setup. Basically, what I'd like to go through is the graphical user interface for the DRX. I'm going to start off by starting a survey sample, touching the green start button. Now we're in survey mode. The instrument is starting to take data. We can see that we have a total concentration over here, and on the right hand side of the screen is PM10, respirable, PM2.5, and PM1. Now the graphical user interface is set up such that at the bottom of the screen we have a number of tabs. You have a setup tab, a run mode tab, a data tab, a graph tab, and a main tab. Right now we're in the main screen or the main menu, so we're on the main tab. Specifically, we're starting to take data, and you can see we've got the total concentration. If I wanted to select respirable as the highlighted concentration in the upper left, all I have to do is tap on respirable here. That now comes over and becomes the highlighted. Total rearranges itself in order of size fraction to be total, PM10, PM2.5, and PM1. Now, if I want to look for the stats associated with this sample, I push the stats button, and over on the right-hand side of the screen, my stats change. I have min, max, average, and time-weighted average data to look at during sampling. Very important to be able to look at data while you're taking a sample. Okay? If I go and touch the tab or the stats key again, I go back to having my regular concentrations displayed for all 5 size fractions. Now, if you look at all 5 size fractions and come over here, it indicates that all sizes are being looked at. If I touch this area right here, it's another live key, I can toggle that to be an indoor air quality, outdoor environmental size, and what we're looking at now is PM1, total, PM10, and PM2.5. Let's say I want to see PM2.5 as my size fraction. I come up and they realign themselves again. PM2.5 here, total, PM10, and PM1. Notice that respirable is missing. Respirable is not typically a size fraction that's looked at in indoor air quality or outdoor fugitive emissions monitoring. Typically the PM fractions and total fractions are looked at for sizing convention. If I toggle that again, I now have the IH mode. So we've got respirable, we've got PM10, or excuse me, total, and PM10 thoracic. So you've got your total dust, you've got thoracic and respirable size fractions. Notice that PM2.5 and PM1 are missing. Now, I want everybody to understand that if you are taking data, if you're logging data, and you start to switch these modes around, you will still log all channels. It's just what's displayed on the screen, on the smart screen, through the graphical user interface, and what we call these smart keys or live keys that are on the screen. So let's go back to all being displayed. Now we have all size fractions. I'm going to go back to total being the one that's highlighted, and then PM10, respirable, 2.5, and PM1 realign themselves. Now here's an interesting thing to look at. We have the ability to look at a real-time graph of data. What you will see excuse me, is a 5-minute rolling average that goes across the screen. I also have live keys here. If I go up into this area and touch in here, I can look at, do I want an average or a TWA line through my data? And I'm just going to select average. Going to highlight that, click OK, and now I'm going to get an average concentration line. Over in the y-axis, right now we've got total being displayed. All right, I can touch over here in the y-axis and change the size fraction. Now I have PM10. Now I've got respirable. I've got PM 2.5 and PM1. You can actually see the screen changing. Down at the bottom over here under time, I can change my timing conventions from relative to actual and so on and so forth. It's just how you want to perceive and look at your data on the x-axis. But it is really a nice tool to be able to toggle over on the y-axis. Now, if I touch a little further over on the y-axis, I can look at auto scaling or setting scales on the y-axis for the upper and lower limits. I'm just going to leave it in auto scale and proceed from here. Now, to get back to the main screen, I'm going to touch the main tab again, and here we are back on the main screen looking at all data. So we've got all of our size fractions. Again, you've got your stats buttons, and then over here you have some indicators that are relative to the instrument's performance right now. We don't have a stell alarm set. We have a pump, a laser, and a flow. So if you ever have an error with any of these green radial buttons, they'll actually turn to red in color, indicating that there may be an issue with the instrument. All right? Thanks for listening today. I trust this information was helpful on the DustTrak DRX. Thank you for attending our product application training, and we'll see you next time.